what's going on today than what was going on in the 80s?
I don't know, man. In the 80s, bands were bands, and they wrote, it seemed like they all grew up together and they became better musicians together. Nowadays, each individual that steps into the band is an incredible musician that are doing, like, drumming wise, some of these new bands like Rivers, the Rivers of Nihil guys. The drummer is doing things that I couldn't even imagine doing. If I had 3 legs, I wouldn't be able to do what he's doing. But it's all of that individual technique and ability doesn't really mean much when it comes to 5 dudes in a room writing a song that fans will remember when the song's done or when the show is done. And I think that's what Obituary does well. Is we're not great musicians individually. I mean, we'd be the first to say we're kind of cavemen when it comes to playing our instruments because we are basic. But we tend to get our minds together and we write decent music that people remember, and it's catchy, and I think that's why radio's starting to pick up on that now.
Yeah. So do you think the categories even mean anything these days anymore? Like Florida versus this,
I don't know.
and modern, and all the subgenres like melodeath and anything like that?
I guess it has to have a title. I guess you gotta put titles on things, you know, dudes in Norway and all the crazy black metal and stuff. I guess you have to call it that. And it seems like bands write music when they're put in a category like Norwegian metal, but again, Obituary, and maybe because we've been around going on 30 years, is we don't really think about that while we're in the studio writing a song. We don't care about what other bands are doing on the planet. We don't even care what we did last year with the last record. We don't think that way. We just, song by song in the garage in Florida, we just go, you know, what are we going to do? Let's just try. And we start writing a riff, and it ends up turning into a song, and we don't really care about what we did before that song or what's going to happen after it. We write Obituary style music, and people call it death metal, I guess, but it's really not. Besides my brother's vocals, you know, he's definitely got a death metal voice, but some of the riffs are southern metal-ish more than death metal, in my opinion.
I just keep thinking about Metal Meowlish, and I just want to ask you about that, but we're talking about
No, that's all right. We can go on. It might spur another question from you.
Well, when I was looking up stuff and, you know, reading the biography, not anything that came as a surprise or anything new, but then I saw that and I was like, oh, this is so exciting, because more and more you're seeing people do what they do, but they're also doing something for somebody else, or, you know, something else. And I love cats. And the name that I was given for my business was Metal Kitten Studio, so I saw that and I was like, I gotta talk to him about it.
That's great. I'm an animal lover. My family has always had animals. It turned into cats just for me at a young age. Just something about a cat freaks me out, and I love it. They're super adept and quiet and killer and self-sufficient, and it's kind of like I think what I am. But you know, I only started Meowlish simply to raise awareness, because so many fans were asking me about it once they read about what I did, and it's all it was is in my community, me and my girlfriend were tired of seeing the homeless population of cats going up and up, because in Florida there's no hard winter, so there's no stopping of the breeding. You know, in wintertime, like we just did Canada and up north and stuff, and you could tell you are not living through that temperature. But in Florida, it doesn't ever get past, you know, you get a frozen night once a year maybe. So just the breeding is year round. So the feral cat community, population problem is it's a big thing. And I just got tired of seeing cats getting run over in my neighborhood and kittens being born right in bushes right behind a Taco Bell and stuff. And we just educated ourselves and figured out what trap, neuter, return was through the Humane Society in Tampa. And I started, I mean, literally, it sounds cliche, but I just started with my own backyard and that tomcat that was going back and forth. I'm like, you know what, you're first. I'm gonna start with you, and I did it, and it was easy, and I felt so good about myself, and I knew next time he walked by, he's not going and getting someone pregnant, or he's not gonna go fight and hurt himself, and then it just turned into my neighbor's backyard and at the mobile station, a gas station near me, and then it turned behind the McDonald's and all the apartment complexes around the university that I live near. and that was it. Like 10 years later, we still do what we do because we love what we do, and now we just monitor our colonies because they've all been spay neutered and vaccinated, and so of course there always is new cats showing up and kittens still being born. So what I do is any cats that are born, if I can find them early enough, usually about 2 months old and younger, you can get them out of there and socialize them. We just put them in our bathroom and just handle them until they're people friendly, and then they get put through the adoption program with two of my rescue groups, and that's really all it is, you know. And then we're just kind-hearted people. Me and my girl, we just before we eat dinner every night, we go and we feed our colonies fresh water and food, and then that's when obviously it's a daily monitoring of just who's hurt, who just showed up, and it's also called tipped ear program because they during the operation they take a little tip of the left ear off, so then day after day, year after year, you can see who's been done, and you know, anyone that shows up, you can spot them easily and get them, you know, snatch them up and get them TNR'd also.
See, I had when I was in high school, my cat passed away when I got her when I was very young. So then we went to adopt more, and we went into the shelter, and there were 2 little feral cats, and nobody wanted to buy them because you had to buy them together because they were socialized with each other, and if you were to break them apart, it would not be good. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, I don't see him. We don't cuddle. He never wants to be around anybody.
Right.
But those 2, I mean, my family and I felt like we did something for them.
You did, especially keeping them together, because I'm sure you've seen them balled up together, sleeping happily sleeping as long as a human doesn't mess with them. How long has it been? How long have you had them?
Oh my goodness. Probably almost 6 years or so. But we had a Maine Coon that they bonded with because he was orange too.
Yeah. God, I love orange cats.
Yeah. So we had the 2 tabby twins, and then we had the Maine Coon, and they would eat together, sleep together, cuddle, follow each other around. Like the kitten, I think on his 6-month checkup was 13 pounds because he wouldn't stop eating. So we were like, okay, well, maybe we need to split you apart a little bit.
Well, that's great. I mean, I live with ferals, so that's all my cats at my house are the ones that can't get adopted, but, you know, I don't want to put them back out because there's certain special needs with them. One of them was shot with a BB gun like 11 times and lost his eye. And his sister's the same thing. She has a few BBs in her, so I wasn't going to go put her back where they came from because obviously somebody was taking shots at him. You know, and just a diabetic kitty, just a tripod kitty, just those kind of things where I don't want to put them back out. Some of them I have to. Some I've in just this last year I've had 2 that came up with a bad eye that I had operated on, but their colony was far enough away from traffic and stuff that I felt comfortable putting a one-eyed cat back out where because he was totally feral.